So let's talk about the All Blacks to take on South Africa in Johannesburg. Scott Robertson has named his first side since the leaving of Liam McDonald, the attack coach, so I guess all eyes will be on the attack as well. I imagine it's going to be a lot simpler, a lot more physical, because this is going to be a massive physical battle, of course, against South Africa, who can get on top, and I think he's picked a team to try and get on top. Definitely size and experience is to the fore in this team. A few injuries as well, but some returning injuries. Notably, Scott Barrett, the captain, is in the second row. He is their biggest, most physical second row, who maybe in this sort of match could have partnered Patrick Tuipulotu, but he's injured and hasn't travelled to South Africa. That maybe would be the most physical second row pairing they could go for. But Tupuva'i was excellent in the last match against Argentina. Sam Darry is the up-and-coming second row, who will be a starting second row very soon, I am sure. Josh Lord is a bit of a drop down, so not a surprise that he's not in the squad. In the front row, Ethan de Groot, I think, is injured, so he's out anyway, but so many people really excited to see the massive, the mighty Tamaiti Williams starting at loose head. It's going to be an absolute ding-dong battle up against Malherbe. That's going to be huge for the young man. Then Cody Taylor, then Lomax, who's their premier tight head these days. In the back row, yep, it's very physical. Ethan Blackadder had a big game against Argentina, really putting himself around big shots. And Sam Cane is back, the captain who was red carded in that World Cup final, of course, who's going to retire at the end of the year. So this is his swan song year, and he's going to be absolutely revved up for this one. He tackles like a train, really good over the ball, super experienced, very physical. So I think it's a good selection anyway. Is he going to carry on the starting seven for the rest of the year? Well, maybe, but obviously he's not a long-term solution there. Papali'i, I think, could have played. They said something in the press conference about a thumb injury, but I think this is more of a tactical selection here, going for the physical experience Sam Cane and Surveyor, who's been absolutely phenomenal anyway. He's a vice-captain alongside Geordie Barrett, supporting Scott Barrett. They have not gone for the 6-2 split. They've gone for more options on the bench. Looking at the bench, it's the same reserve front row of Amua, Tuangafasi and Newell. How are they going to match up against the bomb squad? I'm a little bit more worried about that than the starting front row. Back row replacement is a return for Sema Penifino, a physical number 6, that's for sure. But it's a shame we haven't seen Jacobson. He could be good in this sort of match, and we haven't seen him so far at all. Into the backs, and they're sticking with the experience of TJ Perenara. No surprise for this game, but he doesn't quite get that ball away as quick as Quarters Ratma would do, or as nippy as Quarters Ratma is. But they've gone for that physicality, that experience. DMAC, massive game for him, of course. The accusation is he can look great behind a pack going forward, but not so good behind a pack going backwards, and this pack could go backwards, so big game for him. And it's a return of Geordie Barrett and Rieko Ioane, who were briefly disrupted when Leonard Brown came into the centres. It sounds like they've had a chat with Rieko Ioane and tried to get him to improve some things, and at this point with his experience, he should be at the top of his game. So it's a little bit worrying, but certainly they've done enough to return as a partnership. And maybe that was something to do with the Liam McDonald thing, the selection in the backline, because this backline is pretty different. We've got two different wingers than what we started the Rugby Championship with. We've got the power of Caleb Clark and the all-round class of Will Jordan, amazing in the air. And we've got a specialist winger on the bench, which they didn't have to do because they could have moved Rieko Ioane out. But Mark Talaya is super slippery, great working off his wing, physical as well, so I quite like that as an option. But certainly they are down a forward compared to South Africa, but more options in the back, so that's a pretty big call. And at fullback, of course, it's Beauden Barrett, who has been absolutely amazing. Any other players I'd like to see? Well, I'd love to see an appearance of Proctor, maybe starting at 13 in one game. Are we going to see him in this championship? I do hope so, because he's been on fire. And going back to the back row, they've said to players like Satiti, this isn't a game for you. We're going for the big hitters, the experience, the size, if you like. So that is the tactic there. Is it going to be good enough? I don't know, but it's going to be an awesome game. I am going to try and do a live stream watch along for this game. So if you want to watch along with an Englishman who hasn't got skin in the game, a bit of an independent, please get involved in that. I'm looking forward to that. Haven't done that for ages. So what do you make of this team? Is it the one you'd have selected? Comments below, and I'll catch you next time.